The Ring. It starts with a cursed videotape that kills you 7 days after watching it. Journalist Rachel Keller investigates after several creepy deaths, only to fall into the trap herself when she and her son Aiden watch the tape. She uncovers the story of Samara Morgan, a girl with terrifying psychic powers who was abused and thrown into a well. Rachel assumes the usual ghost movie solution applies, gives Samara a proper burial, and the nightmare ends. But the twist flips that idea on its head. Noah, Rachel's ex, is killed in one of horror's most chilling moments. Samara crawls straight out of his TV. Rachel realizes she survived not because she freed Samara, but because she copied the tape and passed it on. The curse was never meant to be broken. It was built to spread like a virus. To save Aiden, she has him make a copy too, dooming someone else. The evil wins by design, truth or dare. What starts as a harmless game turns into a death sentence. A group of friends play truth or dare with a stranger named Sam, not knowing the game is bound to a demon named Kallax. The rules are brutal. Refuse, skip, or quit, and you die. The demon follows them everywhere, twisting truths and dares until there's no escape. Olivia and her friends learn too late that Sam, the one who tricked them, was the only person who could perform the ritual to seal Kallax. But the rules bend against them. Sam is killed, and with him, the only way out vanishes. In desperation, Olivia films a video explaining the curse and uploads it online, spreading it to millions. The demon wins by going viral. Sinister. Ellison Oswalt, a struggling true crime writer, moves his family into a murder house and discovers reels of films showing entire families slaughtered. In the background of every reel lurks Bughul, a pagan deity who feeds on children's souls. The pattern is horrifying. After each murder, one child disappears, taken by Bughul to spread the curse further. Ellison thinks he's safe when he leaves the murder house, but that's the trap. Leaving is what seals his fate. His daughter Ashley, under Bughul's influence, kills her family with an axe while recording it all. Bughul collects her, and the cycle resets. Evil doesn't just survive, it ensures it has a sequel. Smile. Dr. Rose Carter's life unravels after witnessing a patient's horrific suicide. The curse chooses her next. Its rules painfully simple. Witness a cursed death, and you're next in line. It breaks victims with hallucinations until they kill themselves in front of another, passing the curse on like a relay baton. Rose tries to outsmart it by isolating herself, but the entity always had her cornered. In the finale, she sets herself ablaze in front of her ex, Joel, sealing his fate as the next cursed host. The sting. You can't beat it. The curse feeds on trauma, and every death only ensures its survival. Hereditary. What begins as a story of grief explodes into nightmare when Annie Graham learns her mother was part of a cult worshipping Paimon, a demon that requires a male host from their bloodline. Every tragedy, the death of her daughter Charlie, her own unraveling, was part of the cult's careful setup. By the end, her son Peter is left open for possession, and Paimon finally claims his true vessel. The cult crowns him as their king. The reveal is chilling. The Grahams were doomed from the start. It wasn't random tragedy, it was destiny, and evil already had the blueprint. Drag me to hell. Christine Brown denies an elderly woman's plea for a mortgage extension. Humiliated, the woman curses Christine with the demon Lamia, who promises to drag her soul to hell in 3 days. Christine tries everything, rituals, sacrifices, even desecrating the woman's corpse, to break it. But a mix-up seals her fate. She realizes too late that she never got rid of the cursed button, the anchor for Lamia's claim. In the final scene, the ground splits open and she's literally dragged screaming into hell. Her boyfriend watches helplessly. Evil didn't just win, it ripped victory right from her hands. Paranormal activity. Katie and Micah set up cameras to capture strange happenings in their home. The truth? The demon isn't tied to the house. It's tied to Katie, marked since childhood. It toys with her, wears her down, and waits for the right moment. Micah, instead of helping, provokes it. By the end, the demon takes full control of Katie, killing Micah and leaving her body as its permanent vessel. Multiple endings exist, but the outcome never changes. Katie's life is over, and the demon always wins. The autopsy of Jane Doe. Father and son coroners receive the body of an unidentified woman. On the surface, she looks untouched, but inside, her organs reveal burns, ritual damage, and mutilation. She wasn't a witch in life. The torture turned her into something else. Jane Doe exists in a half-living state, able to twist reality and feed on suffering to heal herself. By the end, both coroners are dead, and Jane's body appears pristine again. As she's wheeled away, her toe twitches. She's not dead, she's just waiting. Evil lingers, ready ready for the next victim. It Follows. In It Follows, the curse works like an unending game of tag. Once you sleep with someone who's cursed, the entity starts hunting you, relentless, slow, and unstoppable. It can look like anyone, a stranger, a friend, even a loved one. The only rule is that if it catches you, you die horribly. The only escape is to pass it on by sleeping with someone else, making them the new target. Jay, the film's main character, tries to outrun it with her friends. They fight, they hide, they even try to ambush the entity in a swimming pool, but nothing works. By the end, Jay sleeps with someone to keep it at bay, but the final shot shows a figure walking slowly toward her and her boyfriend. The curse isn't gone. It never will be. Evil just keeps walking. The Mist. Based on Stephen King's novella, The Mist traps a group of townspeople in a supermarket after a strange fog rolls in, hiding unspeakable creatures. At first, it feels like a classic survival story. Fight the monsters, escape the mist. But the true horror comes from human desperation, paranoia, and hopelessness. David, the main character, eventually flees with his son and a few survivors. When their car breaks down in the endless fog and they hear the monsters closing in, he makes a devastating choice. To spare them from being torn apart, David shoots his son and the others, saving himself for last, but runs out of bullets. Moments later, the mist clears and the military arrives. Help was literally seconds away. David is left screaming, broken, knowing his decision damned him forever. The message is brutal. Sometimes the scariest monster is despair itself, and in the end, it wins. The Blair Witch Project. 3 film students head into the woods to make a documentary about the Blair Witch legend. At first, it's just creepy noises and strange stick figures hanging in the trees, but the deeper they go, the more hopeless their situation becomes. Maps don't work, compasses go haywire, and it feels like the forest itself is trapping them. By the finale, Heather and Mike end up in an abandoned house where something unseen picks them off. Heather's camera falls to the floor, capturing only her screams. No answers, no closure, just disappearance. The terror comes from the fact that the witch doesn't need to show herself to win. Fear and inevitability do the work for her. The Grudge. If The Ring is about a curse that spreads like a virus, The Grudge is about one that stains everything it touches. After Kayako and her son are murdered in their home, their rage creates a curse so powerful it infects the entire house. Anyone who enters is doomed, no matter what they do afterward. Karen, the American caretaker who discovers the truth, tries to burn the house down to stop it. But the curse doesn't end. It simply moves, spreading further and further. The Grudge doesn't care about closure or revenge. It's a stain that multiplies, reminding us that some evils don't fade. They just spread until they consume everything. The Babadook. At first, The Babadook looks like a story about a mother, Amelia, struggling with grief and single parenthood while raising her troubled son Samuel. But when they discover a creepy children's book about a monster called Mr. Babadook, things spiral. The entity isn't just haunting them, it's feeding on Amelia's despair. She tries to fight it, burn it, deny it, but the Babadook can't be destroyed. In the finale, Amelia locks it in her basement, where it feeds quietly in the dark. The message is haunting. You can't erase grief or trauma. You can only learn to live with it. The Babadook always stays. Candyman. Say his name 5 times in a mirror, and Candyman appears. Born from racial violence and tragedy, Candyman is less a single person and more a vengeful spirit of injustice that keeps returning in different forms. In both the original and the 2021 sequel, the curse spreads because people invoke his legend. The moment you believe, the moment you speak his name, you've given him power. By the end of the 2021 film, Anthony McCoy becomes the new Candyman, proving the curse isn't about one man's ghost. It's an endless cycle of rage and memory that no one can break. Whether it's a videotape, a party game, a demon, or even despair itself, these movies all remind us of one thing. Evil doesn't always get defeated. Sometimes it lingers, sometimes it spreads, and sometimes it waits for the exact moment when you've given up hope. And if these endings left you shaken, just wait until we dive into the dark corners of the Conjuring universe, where every cursed object has a story of its own.